Hello teacups, what's brewing? Welcome back to the channel and thank you for being here. So Chantal finally came live and we're going to take a look at that today. Now, I was a little bit busy this morning, so as I was getting ready to leave, I watched about 2 hours of her nearly 6-hour live stream. Guys, I thought these days were behind us, at least temporarily. I didn't think she'd have enough power. I didn't think she'd be able to do a 6-hour live stream. She has proven me wrong. So I listened into a couple of hours of it while I was getting ready, and now I'm using barbecue chillins cut down. I do sometimes get a few comments saying that Just Saying goes a little bit too fast, so I'm hoping this is a good alternative for everyone to understand. So because I haven't seen the full live, I've got like the main points of it, but the latter part of it is going to be more of a cold react at this point. Now, she did post a few other things on community posts, mostly of the food she was having. There was a lot of talk because the food was, how can I put this, staged very nicely. It looked professional. And no one believed for a second she had done that because we have seen her food photography. Apparently, some people reverse image searched the picture and a site popped up and said, oh yeah, we found it here, but that site is quite well known for basically just getting your money, making you pay to get the picture and then just giving you something similar. So it's not 100% whether that's true or not. But I've never seen her make food look so good, so... They appear to have gone away to see either some of Salah's friends, acquaintances, family, I don't know who. She uses the word friend, but Salah wasn't raised in Syria, so I'm assuming it's someone with family connections. Wait a second. Sorry about that. Without fail, people message me while I'm recording, but it was actually someone doing me a favour, so I cleared out my wardrobes today and I had a load of folded up clothes in a hamper. And I was like, is there anyone who collects clothes for donation? And someone just messaged me and said, oh, this place might do collection, but actually I can drop it off for you. So I thought I should answer her straight away. If I get another interruption, it might be me sorting with that. So sorry. But yes, I was assuming family connection because he hasn't been there that long. Where would he make the friends, you know? But anyway, let's get into the video. Coffee because I'm tired.
Okay, so yeah, I don't even know where to start. Like, I guess I've just been busy, you know? Like, I just got here. So I'm settling into my new life, which is very different from the life I'm used to. I'll just be honest about that. Not necessarily in a bad way, just in a way.
I think it's very natural, even when you're going to a place that isn't as volatile as Syria, to be like, oh yeah, I've just been settling in. But it sounds like, as I say, they've been traveling, so just going back and forth, she won't really have had a chance to settle where she is right now.
It seems overwhelming for some people, but
for some people,
yes,
some people with less open minds than me.
Yes, but I've only been here a few days, so it's going to be a while. But like, I don't even think about binge eating or doing anything like that. Overeating. It's too hot. I'm too busy, and I just.
It's too hot, and I'm too busy. Are two separate things. And what are you busy with exactly?
There's no I don't have access to fast food, like easy access to fast food. I can't order it. No, not live here indefinitely. No. That's okay. It's normal to worry. I mean, when people think Syria, obviously they just think of which is, I mean, it is still a country that's like recovering from being war torn, and there's still a lot of unrest and transitional period going on.
Yeah, when you say recovering, it's still very much an active thing. Like, yes, the regime changed, but you don't know what's coming.
Move to Syria to lose weight? It's not to lose weight, it's to be with my husband, number one, right?
I don't, the weight loss is what she's really been focusing on. You know, and every time she said, oh yeah, if we were going to be like nomads, I would have to be healthy, I'd have to lose some weight. I think she's seeing this as the stepping stone to that.
Two, even though it's challenging, sometimes I break down and I'm really out of shape, I like to travel. And
what does she mean when she says break down? Like, we've seen her obviously lose her mind online. But what I'm interested about here is what Salah has been dealing with off camera. And believe me, he does make some comments about it. But saying, oh, I sometimes break down seems like she's referring to something.
I get bored as heck in Canada after a few weeks, you know? So, rebuilding here, rebuilding there. Rebuilding here with Salah and my cat just seems a lot more appealing. learning a lot. Like when you're put in challenging situations, you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot how to cope with life. You learn a lot.
All of those things are true. You've never been great at learning. But saying, oh, building yourself in Canada and building yourself in Syria are the same, I don't think is true. The problem here is basically her privilege. She sees what she's dealing with now as, oh no, look, I have it really tough and it's character building. And this is tougher than her life in Canada would be, but it doesn't hold a candle to what a lot of people are actually going through there.
It's pretty much the same heat as Canada. Like right now it's cool. I can feel the cool air coming in the window. I have a fan going though, but the government, because of the infrastructure, basically, you guys know, 10 years of war completely almost deteriorated the power system here. So you get electricity from the government for 4 hours a day, and it's like spread out 1 hour at a time. 2 to 3 p.m., 2 to 3 a.m., 8 to 9 p.m., 8 to 9 a.m., okay?
Okay, it's spread out and she gets that and that's how it happens. So when she says she's tired, she cannot be using her CPAP because she has to sleep with it on. So the best she could really hope for is to fall asleep with it on, but she's not getting good rest. Okay, sorry, that should be the last interruption. She's coming to collect clothing in 2 hours. Now I can actually focus on Foodie instead of the messages. So her CPAP is not going to be a consistent thing at all because it can't be. And she doesn't have the option, I don't think, of just going and finding something that can run it. I don't even know if that exists. I guess like a camping battery or something. Like, I don't know what you would need for a CPAP to be powered. She should definitely invest in one no matter what, because you can't just not sleep with it. You'll just stop breathing.
So it's only hot really from like 10 a.m. until, I'd say maybe 9 until 4:35. Then it cools off and it's much more tolerable.
So all day.
Like I don't even really feel like I need an AC right now. This fan is amazing. We have another fan also in the bedroom. My knees are so sore and like bruised from like, a lot of people like sit on the ground here, so on like these mats, and we even have one too. It's a match, like I think it's a matchless Arabic style seating. But getting up and down, man, being fat is hard in Canada, and it's even harder in Syria. I would say 1,000,000 times harder in Syria.
I would say most things are harder in Syria, but yes, I'd imagine there are fewer accommodations for you there. We've seen her try and sit. We've seen her try and seal on a lower chair. Like, do you remember when she was in that cat cafe in Thailand? Is that how she's sitting in front of his friends? Because she hasn't gotten very many new clothes, although I'm wondering what she's wearing right now, to be honest. Is that a new black abaya? But if she's sitting spread out because she can't sit any other way, that would raise a few eyebrows.
But the main thing, because there's a lot of sun here, the sun is very strong, a lot of people have private solar panels installed in their place. And of course, during the day, you know, the government electricity will switch on, and then you switch your solar off, then you switch it back on. And during the day when there's sun, of course, you can use the electricity. But there's also, at night, we have a battery. Because if there's no sun, there's no power, unless you have a battery for like, storing the energy.
Right, that was going to be my next question. Because if you're using solar power, yes, it'll obviously run in the sun, but you have to be able to store that somewhere. Because she thought she had solar power, and then it turned out they didn't.
So, yeah, so we have that installed recently. And you still have to be very...
Sorry, I did just say she didn't have it. How long has she been in Syria now? A few days? She said, we had that installed recently. Yeah? So if we're generous and say this is like the 4th day, and she's going to talk in a minute about some problems they had using that power, so she got that installed 2nd day. Oh, and I am also now wondering, in terms of the cost, what that is to a regular person. Oh, this is going to turn this off. I'm making such a mess of my recording right now. Average salary Syria. I am using AI overview, so excuse me. And it does say it's difficult to pinpoint with the ongoing conflict and what have you. The average monthly salary is estimated to be about 300,000 Syrian pounds, which is equivalent to approximately $20 USD, according to the Syrian Observer. This amount is insufficient to cover basic needs like food, rent, education, and healthcare. Syria's minimum wage ranges from just under 10,000 to 14,760 Syrian pounds per month. And the ongoing conflict has severely impacted the economy, leading to hyperinflation and drastic devaluation of the Syrian pound. Now, the reason I looked that up is because she's going to tell us how much the solar panels cost. And I just want to know, when she says, oh, it's this much, how accessible that is for her versus someone else there.
Very, very mindful of, you know, where you use your electricity, like you still have to conserve it. Like right now, it's dark. Like the only light I have on is this one and the fan going. And like when I go to sleep, it's just going to be the fan CPAP. And there's like a little night light that probably doesn't use much power. So I did get a good night's sleep last night. I am sleeping, but it's just, you know, we've had to do alternative things. Like we've had to figure it out.
All right, so she said she got a good night's sleep, but how? She can't power the CPAP. Maybe I'm misremembering and they've actually sorted out the battery issue. We'll find out in a minute. But saying, oh, I've had to come up with alternatives. Dude, you gotta sleep. And she's not known for her mindfulness. So this doesn't sound like it's particularly easy for Chantal, and this is not the worst version of the life she could be living at all.
Right now we're just temporarily renting a place. I don't have a fridge.
She doesn't have a fridge. She doesn't have a fridge. Now, obviously, fridges use power. I mean, I guess if you could get it cold enough fast enough and then keep it closed when the power's off, you could keep it somewhat cool, but you wouldn't trust putting, like, certain groceries in there, would you? And she mentioned the kitchen still has to be cleaned, which I very much doubt she's done.
So we have a cooler that we use, you know, put cold water, we can keep the water cold. I cannot say why we came here. No, I'm not going to be talking about like our private life like anymore. Like work, if he's working, why we came here.
That has been a conversation with Salah. Because like I said, she doesn't learn her lessons, and she probably will still mention this. But why we came here if he's still working? Interesting. So basically, don't share shit about me or my place or my anything. You've already ruined my life once. She came there because she couldn't stand not being with him and she couldn't hack it alone in Canada. And this is just where the bag of feral cats that is the inside of her brain took her. Salah is there because he is a citizen of there. It's the only place he can really stay somewhat, I don't even want to say securely because of the area he's in, but it's the one place that like he doesn't need a visa for. He's already said, oh, I still get money from my business in Kuwait. And I don't know, you guys, like something, and I know we've talked about this before, but something is dodgy about Salah and Kuwait. Like, yes, the cat thing. Yes, I think they're avoiding it and hoping that maybe if he ends up going back to Kuwait, he can just kind of go back in, not share where he's living, and then the case will just go cold and that'll be it. And he can just kind of pass through this whole experience. But the more I think about that, like the way he never seemed to be working in the later times with Chantal, and given how difficult life in Syria is, I think his choice to leave as quickly as she did makes me think that if he had been looked into more closely because of the cat stuff, maybe it would have revealed other things about like how he's working, how he's living, the legitimacy of his residency maybe. Because if things did go ahead with the government in regards to the cat stuff, the most likely outcome would be him being deported. So in which case, why not just wait and then leave when you had to, you know? Because if he's moving back to Syria, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Unless he was scared of getting like fined or whatever. So I don't know, I think maybe there's something dodgy in the background that maybe wasn't out at this point, but Salah was like, I can't afford them to look closer. That is pure speculation.
One, he's Syrian, right? He's a Syrian citizen. He's got a passport, he's a citizen here. So if I'm not in Kuwait and we want to be together, you know, that's one of the reasons. Everything else is just really personal. And the battery doesn't run.
It's gonna come out in a bit.
Small fridge. I don't know if we could get a small fridge. We probably could. We may look into that. But I don't really want to just like set up home here when we're probably not going to stay here.
So there is talk of them going back to Salah's family home, whatever condition that is in. I'm going to have that conversation with you a bit later because Salah starts talking.
Yeah, it's roughing it, yeah.
That phrase again.
You need to rough it. No, that's okay. You guys can ask, but I'm not going to be talking about like really personal things. My plan for this arc while I'm in Syria is actually just going to be like, no, Malaysia, we're not residents there. So having to travel all the time, you know.
She was going to have to do that from Kuwait anyway. Now, it might be she's a little bit concerned that if they both have to do that, it's going to get more expensive with flights and things. But they could do it to nearby places. She doesn't have to go back to Canada to do it.
Yeah, I know people are genuinely struggling here, and of course I have empathy for that. You know, like I don't know. I don't really know like what to say about that. Like I know, like I wanted to say basically like I'm so tired. I'm just like so tired. There's people struggling, and we feel for them obviously.
That alarm could not have come at a better time for her, because now she's got a distraction from having to finish this sentence.
Yeah, I'm just here because I want to be with Salah. That's it, you know. And my plan for this is just, this arc is just going to be live streams like from home, because the internet is not good enough. Like the signal, it's 4G. It's kind of like taking a step back in time with basic things like electricity and we have water. We have a water tank, so a big water tank. That's how the buildings, they fill up a water tank. You have water, internet. So yeah, that's about it, I guess. But like I'm getting used to it. It's like, you know, and they're so nice. Like I don't know.
I don't think she's getting used to it. I think the longer she has to experience it, the less patient she's going to get with it. Because you can already see the shiny and new is wearing off. Now, if they went away, I imagine she vlogged, so we'll see a bit more then. But I can't imagine this isn't already wearing thin.
Like just so hospitable. Like they don't have much, but what they do have, they will give you. Like they'll share, you know. And yeah, we're like that too. But I'm getting used to that kind of lifestyle. So once I have everything set up, the apartment fully cleaned, consistent power.
I don't think she's going to get consistent power anytime soon. But yes, having a backup battery would be good.
Cold water in my stock thing. We have a kettle. I can, you know, invite people too, but your first neighbors were, yes, Barbara, yeah, and they were poor. I can live without a fridge, whatever. Food is really cheap here, you know. Honestly, like I was like people are just vending stuff on the street, like fresh fruits and vegetables. It's like melon season. It's like amazing, like the real food, you know. You drive down the street and you can like, I don't know, you can smell the olive trees. Like people make fresh, like the olive oil is like amazing, and it's so good for you. And the guys with the guns, well, they're basically, I don't know if they're part of, they must be part of the new regime or whatever. I don't know, but.
In fact, she's like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, just stay ignorant. It's better.
Where's Salah? He's here. He's resting. We went to an area of Syria and met up with some of Salah's friends. People he knew. And even people
From
that,
where?
They just come along. Like, I'm just joking. It kind of scared me a bit, but when I think about it, I'll get to that. It was really dark, and we went to, people like to stay up really late, like till like 4 in the morning, socializing. And, you know, we went to a park. And they set up a nice table and chairs for like families to go and have a good time. Kids can play, whatever.
Sounds nice.
There's squat bathrooms. There's mostly squat bathrooms here. That's one thing also if I do adjust to.
That's going to be horrific for her. She barely has balance. Like when I first moved to Japan, my first abroad teaching job, the school I was in only had squat bathrooms, and you just had to live with it. Now I don't want to get too graphic because I don't need to think about that, but food is not going to be having a good time with that.
But I won't get into that. But I'm just telling you that's one of those different things. We have a Western toilet and a squat bathroom. I can show you that someday. But
something to look forward to. Hey, more tours of toilets with Chantal.
So yeah, I've had to use those bathrooms, and I can. Yes, I can. For someone my size, I'm actually able to do that. Right, Barbara having a really good time, and we go to leave, and really, really close. Like it startled me. We hear like bang, bang, like shotgun, like gun noises, and I was like, Jesus, firecrackers. And so I was like, I think
firecrackers. What know you of winter, summer child?
someone probably got shot, and I was like, what? Like my heart, like my heart sank into my stomach because I realized then like there's still groups of there's a lot of still contention between certain groups of people, like.
And that's the fact that she's like, oh, I realized then. You didn't think about this before. I mean, clearly she didn't. Because nothing's real to her until it happens to her. And you see that in so many ways in her life. Like her experience must be the experience everyone else has. So when people go, well, no, that's weird. Well, no, we don't do that. Well, no, whatever. She goes, oh, no, you're just not telling the truth about it. No, you've just misunderstood. The thing is, if something bad happens to her in Syria, like the level of bad, the scale of bad is going to be entirely different from Canada.
Different religious groups, etc. here. But we went home and we went home whenever to where we were visiting, and on the news apparently there was somebody got shot and killed 50 meters from our car.
Jesus.
50 meters. So I was like, I felt sick. Like I was like, wow, you know, like I don't know. That was like a reality. But then I realized
that was a reality, but you know, I don't live in reality, so I backed myself out of there real quick. I rationalized it quickly because I didn't know how to process it.
Do you know how many pew-pewings happen in like the United States. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it happens in other countries.
Chantal, I say this with utter conviction. You're a moron. Well, guys, bad things happen in other countries. So if I go to one of the world's most dangerous countries, it's no different. My chances of running into trouble are the same. What is danger, really, when you think about it? It's all very philosophical.
Well, summer solstice, when was the last school pew-pewing in the United States, right?
Not the same scenario. Both awful, tragic situations, the happenings in Syria and the happenings in schools in the United States, they are not the same. Do not compare them.
Okay, so I'm just saying, it's not like Syria, you know, I'm not saying Syria is as safe as the US. I'm just saying that those kind of things do happen as well elsewhere. So that was kind of like scary for me. That was probably the only scary thing that happened, but then I was just like, whatever, you know, like, I don't think that, I think they have a
She doesn't think, period.
certain target in mind when they do that. And I'm not political, I stay out of that. You know, I just want to come here and be with my husband, appreciate the good side of the culture, because when people think of Syria, that's all they think of.
And yes, that's true, because for so long Syria has been defined by the things that are happening there. But because they've been defined by that for so long, you can't ignore it. I mean, what? Assad came into power in the 70s, and the current civil war has been going on for, 15-ish years. You can't just ignore that. It's not a little localized thing that doesn't impact anywhere else.
All they think of is the, you know, terrorism, blah, 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 negativity.
Yeah, it's just us being negative. Don't worry about the genocide.
I want to be a person who shows, like, a different side and not focus on that on my channel, you know? But it is a reality, so there's going to be some instances, like when I show you some of the buildings, it's unavoidable. It's everywhere. People, and there are people living in those ruins. There's people living there. Like, yeah, still no worries for me.
All right, so show me more of the chickpeas you had for breakfast, hey? Or didn't have for breakfast, as the picture might be.
He was definitely worried about me coming here and tried to warn me a million times.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, well, I don't want to leave you in this without, like, I worry about him every single day. I'd rather be here with him going through it. Like,
I don't necessarily accept this. I know she's in Syria, so who the hell am I? I think if things had been easier in Canada, she wouldn't be in Syria. She didn't like her life in Canada. She couldn't control herself with free access to her addictions. And she saw wherever Salah was as an out. And I'm not saying she never worried for him, but she's much more worried for herself, ironically, considering where she's come.
I love him, he's my husband. And, you know, other than that one incident, it's been totally, the people are amazing. I would rather be here with, like, limited electricity than depressed in an apartment in Canada.
And the weird thing is, I can believe that she would, because the way her brain works is really quite special. And she's got this thing of basically, if I was going to be miserable either way, and I'm going to take my personal comfort as misery, regardless of what's happening outside me in Syria, being in Syria makes me more special. It gives me the chance to save some money. It gives me a chance to run away from my responsibilities in Canada. I can't get the fast food. I can't get the drugs. And I do think this is important to her, she gets the shock line of, oh yeah, I lived in Syria. The presentation of it matters to her. This, assuming she survives it, is a story she gets to tell. And people go, ooh, what? Oh my God.
I don't think they usually kidnap Canadians, and there hasn't been any in a long time. They're not as, they're more rare, and they don't happen usually like in Damascus, and, you know, it's usually, when they were happening, it was happening in, like, Rika, Aleppo, like, really far from me, so.
Chantal's very informed about this, don't worry. It was happening way, way away.
I'm not saying it's not possible, it is, but it's a risk I'm living with. I know the risks.
She would have to understand the situation to know the risk. She just finished telling us a story that somebody got shot super close to her, and that made it real. She has no actual processing that Syria isn't a story that she's kind of hearing, it's something she's actually existing in. Because up until the current Kuwait arc, nothing's actually ever caught up with her, like in a permanent way. So I don't think she even really sees, because she convinces herself of things and then they become her truth, I don't think she even really sees the consequences of her actions here. The fact that she's gone from Kuwait to Canada to Syria, because no, she's just that adventurous.
I'm gonna try. I know there's risks, you know, like if there does happen to break out more war and more, you know, stuff like that, They might close the airspace and I won't be able to leave. Some things like that might happen. And
yeah, things like that could happen. Now, she might be thinking, well, I left over a land border, I could leave again over a land border. But what if something else happens? She's assuming all of this with her being with Salah. What if Salah just gets sick of her shit, because he already sounds sick of her shit, and one day just disappears? He's in contact with some family and friends from Kuwait. They say, look, we've heard nothing, just come on back, you can stay in my spare room. He goes out saying, okay, sweet love, I'm gonna go get some falafel, doesn't come back. What does Chantal do then? She is entirely reliant on him. So what if her attitude finally breaks him and he goes, no, we're done. Even if he doesn't go anywhere afterwards, what if one day he's just not there? What does Foodie do then? She hasn't considered that. Like, okay, the airspace will close, at some point it will reopen again and Salah will just have to deal with it. No, that's not the worst thing that could happen to you.
You know, how can I leave, like, I don't know, how can I leave my husband, like, hey Gabriel, I would rather worry about those things happening to me than me, like, being so, oh no, I can't. If he loved you, he would want me to leave. He didn't want me to come here.
And that's some of the tea we got. We had speculated before that, but this was very much her forcing the issue to come. Like, Salah knew she was gonna hate it.
So, but I do what I want with my life.
Yeah, doesn't she just? And wouldn't you want to be stuck long term with that attitude in very challenging situations?
Syria has the best healthcare in the world. Maybe he's just being a bit patriotic, that's all, when he said that. They do have some smart doctors, though. Apparently, especially a lot of people, every person I met was like, I used to be 140 kilos. And yes, we hung out with people that were fat.
This shouldn't make me laugh, but the fact that that's the conversation people have had with her. They've seen her and they've been like, you know, there's hope.
Or she actually, I sent her some pictures, and she said I look really happy, and she's, you know, she's worried obviously, but, you know, I'm 41, I'm a married woman. Yeah.
I know a lot of people have been like, my parents would take my passport before they'd let me out of the door to Syria, and I understand that, but Chantal clearly doesn't have that relationship with her family. Like, consider her personality, consider how she's reacted in every sense since any of us online have known her or watched her. We don't know her. The family at this point must know that anything they say against what she wants is just going to make her more determined. And you can't really do anything with that except be like, God, I wish she wasn't making us feel this way, but yeah, bon voyage. Because she doesn't learn from her mistakes, but the only way she learns is from her mistakes, if that makes sense. You're never going to stop her from doing the stupid thing. You can only hope the stupid thing hurts just enough to stop her and not enough to kill her.
Don't know, just it's how I like to live my life. Less fluid. Hey, Miss Jack, I'm basically just eating like when I'm hungry, like, you know. I don't even really think about food unless I'm hungry.
But how frequently does she get hungry? Because we've seen her just graze through an entire day.
Olive tree time. Oh no!
Oh, that was the power going out.
Guys. The power goes out.
Okay. That must have been her getting up. If everyone sits on like the padded mattresses or on the floor, can you imagine her trying to get up after in front of people?
Well, okay, the solar power, we just installed it. So what probably happened is the battery didn't have time to absorb enough electricity, or there's something wrong with the battery storing the power. So
I wonder how much power they can store, because like I said, she was online a lot longer than I thought. I'm assuming her phone was charged. But how long does it take the battery to charge, and how much power can they get out of it?
Plain cheeseburgers, the solar power it only costs maybe 700 USD to install.
Okay, so 700 USD. Now, obviously, us Googling then said that you can't really tell an average wage, but it gave the number $20 a month. $700 to install. Like, that is an investment.
And then you have it forever. So, you know, he has a family home here. We can always bring it with us everywhere, so it's good to have anyways, because, like, this is insane. This is the reality. This is the reality of life here. And this is one of the things that's hard to adjust to, even for Salah. It stresses him out because he never lived here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's not like Salah, I think they said he visited once when he was a kid, but he's not used to this. This is going to be really stressful for him. Do you think Foodie as a companion is going to make things less stressful?
So how can I leave him to deal with? But he, like he said,
He wants you to leave him.
me, I can deal with it. I don't want you to go through this. This is not. You have no idea what it's like. And
And she came anyway.
honestly, I feel like we're kind of. If it weren't for the CPAP, I wouldn't care. Thanks.
Okay,
There we
but
go.
you do have the CPAP, so
Okay, I can use that. We have an electrician coming tomorrow. They're going to figure things out for us. So that's what I mean by we've been just trying to deal with setting up house
that's a torch.
so that we can.
It's very Blair Witch product.
This is like the first actual like unplanned blackout that we've experienced. Actually, kind of. I think.
Perfect timing.
Like I thought that the battery would have more time, but it doesn't. He's not Superman, guys. Like this is a new life for him. He's overwhelmed. Like he doesn't.
And then if he gets mad, she's just going to start with the baby voice.
Everything was easier to take care of for me when I came to Kuwait, but here's different.
Well, then you shouldn't have screwed up Kuwait for him, should you?
So I was gonna get a different battery, return that battery, get a different battery. When the sunlight comes out, like sun maybe 6 a.m., we'll have power, so I can just sleep then.
What?
Oh, yeah, with the CPAP, that's what she's doing. Because the sun will power the battery as long as it's shining on it.
I was telling them, like the solar panel works, right?
Yes.
So whenever the sun comes out at Fajr or like 5:36, we'll have full power. It's in a few hours. So I can just sleep then, I'm not even tired. I know I look like crap.
She looks annoyed.
Okay, there you go. It's for you guys. No, I can't use my CPAP now, but I'm not tired. Like, alhamdulillah, I'm not tired now. Because there's been times where I'm dead tired and I've had to wait.
Do you remember all the times she used to just not have the CPAP when she was going back and forth to her exes?
Choosing this life is crazy. Well, I am crazy, so.
I mean, yeah. And yeah.
People would kill for your life in Canada. Maybe I took that for granted. I don't now,
Yes.
but, like, maybe I'm just, because grew up spoiled. I wasn't happy there. Like, especially with Salah.
Yeah, but you weren't happy there because you're a miserable person. You take your misery with you. Chantal isn't going to be happy anywhere where she has to take responsibility for anything. Because even the slightest responsibility is too much for her. Which is, in a basic nutshell, why she can't adult. She just wants to escape.
The battery's defected, so we just have to get a new one, hopefully tomorrow night. We have a shower, Twinkie.
Not tomorrow night. Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. We don't have hot water, though. But I don't care. I want a hot shower.
She's not showering? Are you kidding me?
Do I want to be
I
with
advise
you?
you to not come.
I know, but I want to be with you.
If you didn't hear that, he said, I advised you to not come. He's pissed off, and he sounds pissed off in this. Like, it's hot, it's late, she's live streaming, and he's having to deal with her 24/7. I said don't come. Clearly, things were not ready for her.
And you lost the challenge, by the way, of complaining every single minute.
No, I didn't.
I might put subtitles on Salah. Hopefully they're below. But look, she's still smiling slightly, so you know she's been complaining. You know. No refrigerator, no way to have basic comforts, even without the fast food. Oh, she's going to have been a whiny brat.
When?
Minutes.
You complain more than me. I only complained once.
He's confirming my...
I only complained once because you paid a lot to live here, and the fridge wasn't working, so...
You paid a lot to live here. It's your fault you picked a crap place. And didn't she say that rent wasn't that expensive? But again, if you're looking at the amount people earn per month, then it is going to be expensive. But I love how the moment she wasn't happy about something, you picked this place.
We didn't have a fridge. That's what I complained about.
I wouldn't come here. If you're not here, I wouldn't rent this.
Yeah, I know you did.
Okay, so he rented it for her. Where was he before? Was he living in his parents' place that isn't like renovated already, just to have a roof? And then was the plan to try and fix that up and live there? Or was he willing to live with it in whatever state it was until he could sneak back to Kuwait? And just the plan was she never be there?
Did it for me. He is sleepy. Are you stressed out?
Are you stressed? No, that question's helping. No, I'm annoyed because you're irritating.
So long as it doesn't, not used to a rough life either. Here, go like this on you.
Coming from Chantal. Oh, just like laugh, look down your nose at him. Oh, he's not used to the rough life either. No, I'm having to deal with you. Just leave me alone. I'm telling you, one day he walks out the door, he doesn't come back, and she's screwed. Because to say that Chantal is a game of diminishing returns.
And I know I don't have to be here. But
Yeah,
I don't
you
want to
don't.
be without my husband. So, and he even said today to his friend, we were at his friends, and he said something in Arabic, and they all looked at me and went, oh, and I was like, what? And he said, because they said, we really like her, can we have her for a week? He said, no way, I can't live without her. So,
if true, that is an interesting statement in a less saccharine way that Chantal necessarily thinks.
Yeah.
there, proof he loved. No, I'm just joking.
Just
yeah,
joking,
I told
yeah.
off my, I don't care, I'm gonna talk. I told off my landlord, I'm like, I don't know, we got to like a little tip.
This story I found interesting. So this is a landlord back in Canada when she was leaving without notice.
At the end, he's really weird. He's like a weird little neurotic guy, and he was being like rude. Like I didn't do anything. I was like despite the people harassing him, which you know isn't really my fault because I didn't make them do it. He was like, okay, now don't, because he gave me like, I'm like, I want my money back. You know, like I need to leave. So he was like, don't message me for anything ever again for any reason. So I'm like,
Get lost.
I said, dude. I said, listen. I said. I wrote LMAO. Why would I message you for anything? Get a life, block.
To her landlord. She's going to tell the story of this, so I won't go too much into it right now. But just consider, just consider for a second. Keep that in mind when you hear the story.
Go to number.
Because people were messaging him right when they found out. Like psychos, you know.
I do think people went too far messaging the landlord, but seriously, how she handled this.
So I was like, saying that I was dirty in the villa and all that. So he's like, people were telling me about Orleans, and I was like, I'm like, oh great. I'm like, right away. I'm like, I'm leaving. I want my money back.
So he gets told about the utterly true history of Chantal Marie in Orleans, and she immediately tries backing out and is like, I want my money.
And he was like, okay, here's some tea. So he was like, I'm like, listen, that was like 3 years ago. Basically, I was like, my house got messy like once in a while, whatever. It's not your business. Like, you know, like maybe.
It is his business because past behavior is an indicator of future behavior.
Past tendency, whatever. But like, no, like, so, you know, that was long ago. I'm like, I haven't been a bad tenant now. Like, the place is clean. I paid you first and last month's rent.
She had barely any furniture and barely any belongings in that place already. She had paid first and last. That's no guarantee of behavior.
I'm quiet. I'm very quiet. Like, what more do you want?
She live streams through all hours.
You know? So then he's like, you're not getting any of your money back. I was like, oh, I'm going to pull out Miss Legal, Legal Mindset Foodie Beauty and clock it. So basically we had a verbal agreement only. It was nothing, you know, he said he was being nice and he was letting me move in like a bit of time before the 1st of July.
So they have a verbal agreement. So they're both stupid for a start, because verbal agreement, not worth the paper it's printed on. But they agree. She gives him first and last based on this verbal agreement. And he does her a favor and lets her move in, what was it, 2 weeks early? Thinking, okay, the tenant wants to get in early, all right, yeah, let's do this. Again, mistakes were made on both sides, but he was accommodating to her.
The lease only started. I signed lease. The lease was legally binding for July 1st. So I said, my lease doesn't start until July 1st. You cannot legally withhold my money. And I have to leave now for my safety, and trust me, the trolls are nasty and they're going to make your life hell. So you're going to want to give me back my money. And
now, I kind of wish, given that everyone had contacted him anyway, like, I kind of wish he had just been like, nah, I'm giving you shit. Because if the tenancy isn't binding, then her protections are not binding either. And you really think Foodie is going to go to the trouble of dragging him through the courts? She doesn't have the resources for that. She doesn't have the time for that. She's got to live somewhere while it happens. So there's a part of me that would have just liked the legal bees. There's a chance she would have gotten her money back, but at what cost? And it's the at what cost that would have been interesting.
he was like, you're not getting your money. He's like, I'll give you your money back after you leave, and if you leave before the 1st, before the contract starts, and if I inspect the apartment.
And again, that's probably fairer than she could have expected, because she didn't have a contract. This is just an argument they're having.
I said, your apartment will be in the same condition that it was. I'm not a child. I would not disrespect your property for no reason.
I don't know, based on what we know of her, I would say she disrespected the last property she was in.
Or do anything illegal, but legally, you cannot withhold a last month's rent deposit for, it's not a security deposit for damages.
Well, legally, you didn't have paperwork. So legally, nah. I haven't actually looked into this, and I'm not about to take the time at this second to look up the ins and outs of that as a legal issue, but I'm betting that fighting it would have taken a lot more time and a lot more money than he would have given you back, and I'm sort of here for it.
The deposit for my last month's rent, and you have to give it back. And the first month as well. And actually, I was not
The first month? Nah, you lived there.
nice. I didn't have to do this. I thought it was right to give him a chunk of the first month's rent that I paid for the first because I stayed there for a while. Like,
You stayed there for 2 weeks. I think at the very least he should have kept the first month's rent in full because she broke, I mean, they didn't have a lease, but there were arguments on both sides there over who was in the wrong and who was in the right. Neither of them should have put themselves in that position. It seems like a really dodgy situation. It's obviously some kind of private rental agreement. But I don't think either of you were in a particularly good position there, but I think he was probably in a stronger one in terms of he could wait you out a lot longer because Foodie needed to go. He could have just held out and let the clock time down and be like, okay, fight me in court, because she wouldn't have stuck around for that.
I'm not going to stay there completely for free. So that's the tea with that guy. Anyway, he was, I don't know, he was weird right from the get. Like when I was communicating with him at first, he was using like a troll picture. Not his actual picture, which I get.
Because Foodie's always honest in her pictures.
But he was just really like picky about every little thing. Like I'd never want to live in a place again where the landlord lives in the same building because they nitpick every little thing. Like he's saying the air conditioner wasn't installed properly, that there's going to be bats coming in. He was like super neurotic and like.
Foodie installed that air conditioner herself. Do you trust that it was done well? Do you think she asked permission to put that air conditioner in? And remember, she did this before her tenancy even technically started, because it wasn't meant to start until the 1st. And at that point, he's, I'm sure, seen the state of her old place, because people were messaging it to him. Like, she talks about the landlord like he's a red flag, and yeah, there are some red flags there, but again, mirror Foodie.
I don't know. I'm so glad I'm out of there, man. It would rain and the whole ceiling would leak. Okay? And I message him and he's basically like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, you know, well, who am I supposed to tell about this? Like, you're the landlord. What do you want? Like, who am I supposed to
And
tell?
that's what I'm saying when he seems like a bit of a red flag as well. The thing with these kinds of situations, and Foodie accessed it for that reason, because going through different ways would have been longer or more expensive, is that you run a risk. You're just assuming that both parties are going to be good to each other. And that's why tenancy agreements exist, because people don't do that. And you need some kind of legal protection. If you both forgo that, then that's what you've got to expect.
The ceiling looks like it's going to cave in with water because like, I had to put one of my buckets under there. Like, I'm glad I'm out of there anyways. So that was a disaster. You know, and that's the chance you take.
Yeah, I think you were both 50-50 on that one.
I don't care if he's watching. What's he going to do? I'm allowed to say what I want. I didn't say his name. You know, I'm not the one doxing people, so. Toxic mold. It did smell like mold in there, really bad. It smelled, it did? It smelled like potatoes. You know when you get a bag of potatoes out? And I couldn't pinpoint the smell. And the windows wouldn't stay open all the way, like they would shut down.
It's funny how her picture of the apartment changes a lot now she's out of it.
As long as you have water, yeah.
Your voice made me more sleepy.
Salah is tired and wants to be done. Like, turn it off, go to bed, leave me alone for a while.
Want me to get up or something?
Yes. That look up and down she gave him. What, you want me to get off? Yes! I'm not even saying read between the lines. Read on the lines. Yes!
Will I ask you to come? No.
I asked her to not come. For the safety and for the rough life.
Look at her face. She knows what she did.
I should maybe have given him more time. I didn't have time.
Yeah, she didn't have time. And the only reason she got this far is because she managed to get the money back from the landlord. God, I wish he had just held out. I know it's mean of me, but I wish it would have been an adventure.
Tell you before like the first of the month.
Not that Syria isn't.
I told her give me 1 month at least.
Yeah.
Settle.
He wasn't even asking forever. He was just like, give me a month. I'm already dealing with this. Give me a month.
I didn't have friggin' time.
Yeah.
She just has no answer. Did he just say I didn't have friggin' time?
Maybe I was that a gunshot?
Yeah.
Why?
Fireworks.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that a gunshot? Yes. Look what you chose. Yes. I told you not to come. I think he just wants her out. He'd be like, yeah, no, it's really hard to live here. Go.
That's what I'm gonna tell myself. Fireworks. I guess sleeping outside is off the table. Shut up.
With 1 month I could set a whole huge solar panel system, and in my house, not renting.
Because remember, they're saying that he's paying for everything right now because she can't access her money. And I'm assuming her money needs to start stacking up so they can do other things. He just wanted a month. So now they are renting because she would have been complaining about everything. Whereas he was like, I'm not enjoying it, but I can deal with being in the family home, which is obviously not livable for Foodie. And we're having to deal with all this crap of getting things set up there when I could have just done it at my home. He wasn't saying don't come, he was saying don't come now. And she couldn't even give him that time.
I prepared many things. Too many things, like furnitures.
Prepare many things. Oh. And she doesn't have an answer. She's like, oh God, I can't have this argument on stream. But doesn't stop.
Appliances, machines, you know.
Look at her face. They have had this argument before. That's how he's shutting her down right now.
Utilities and Wi-Fi.
Still.
Too many things.
Just shaking her
Can't get
head.
rid of me that easy.
Apparently not. And it's not a joke. You can hear it's not a joke to him.
We'll always talk about the emotions. Must be real life.
Okay, fine, I'm going to Italy then tomorrow.
I didn't hear what he said.
We'll always talk about the emotions. Must be real life.
Okay, fine, I'm going to Italy then tomorrow.
I didn't quite catch what he said there. Something about emotions and must be real life. I think he's trying to say you need to face reality. It's not that funny, Foodie. Get off the topic.
Should have listened to this a lot. Maybe.
Yeah.
How stubborn I am. I know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, alhamdulillah. Oh. We get an hour of government power. I'm not sleeping for an hour with my CPAP. There's no way. I'd rather wait till the morning and sleep right through. As soon as the sun hits the solar, you can have power all day. Until it gets dark. And it gets dark
okay.
here. And I'm not tired, it's 2.
So now your phone.
He's tired.
2 power banks. My phone, your phone. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
You think I can handle it here?
That was a stupid question to ask. But more than that, it was an insecure question to ask. So because he just had a bit of a go at her, well, not even a go at her, because he is obviously not seeing the funny sides of this. This is the equivalent of like her baby voice. Like, oh, you think I can handle it? Because she wants some reassurance. And he doesn't think she can handle it. He's had to deal with it the last few days.
How long you can last stay here?
No reassurance for her. At all.
Maybe maximum 1 month for you?
He's just going around right now trying to charge everything in the time they've got.
What do you think I'm gonna do? Leave?
I mean, standard too.
What about you? You have times where you're like over it, huh?
This is one of those times, Foodie. Take the social signals. He doesn't want to be having this conversation.
It's hard for you too. It's hard for Syrians in general. Daniel. Oh. No.
Cat doesn't want you.
And she cries and runs away when I want a kiss. Bendigosa.
So does Salah.
I don't know, Pilates, because he has a family home. He has a home here and stuff, so.
I thought she said she wasn't going to talk about that. The question, if you couldn't read it, was they asked why they wanted to go to Syria. And she said, oh, well, he had a family home. Yeah, he needed somewhere to stay. She screwed Kuwait for him. She went straight back to Canada. How many choices does she think he had?
House. And she wanted to get that all taken care of and stuff. And, yeah, he's Syrian, you know? I don't know. I mean, I guess we could overall just leave if we wanted. But. And then the closet is pretty...
Oh, there goes the
It didn't
power.
work. I told you, it's the sun that charges the battery, babe.
I do switch it.
Oh. Alhamdulillah. You know, you can't say how miserable you are. Marcus, if I was really miserable, I'd have a meltdown. I haven't
I'm sure she's had some behind the scenes. I'm sure.
been taking my brain pills in days. I don't know where they are.
See, that's her antidepressants. And we have seen her off her antidepressants before. Like, she hasn't been consistent with them before. That's, for want of a better word, crazy. She has put herself, voluntarily but still, in a very challenging position where she's going to have to make a lot of changes, where she's going to have to give up a lot of the things that she uses as a crutch. Anybody would call her situation challenging, and she just hasn't been taking her medication. The medication that helps to regulate her emotions, because she's lost them, apparently.
I'm kind of bummed about the battery. I thought our problems with the electric were over. Accountability for what exactly? You don't know the situation, so you can't
Your choices.
say if I caused anything because you don't know.
Well, Salah has just said that he was fine living in his family home in whatever condition it is, and if you had given him just a month, he could have set up more of these comforts and you could have come in and actually settled with appliances and solar power and all of these things, so you could have lived a different kind of life. And he wouldn't have had to deal with you while he was setting that up. So we know at least one thing you're responsible for. And that's not even counting the mess that got you out of Kuwait to begin with.
That's not illegal. It's not.
What's not
To
illegal?
do vlogs and make money when you're traveling, it's called Nomad life.
Oh, that. Like I said, I'm not sure of the YouTubing laws. I do believe she needs a permit of some kind, but there are so many bigger problems in Syria, you guys. Unless she films something really sensitive or says something against the government or something sensitive in that way, I doubt they're coming after her.
I don't think you guys know how to use like whatever research you're doing.
But by all means, be smug about this, Chantal. The answer is she doesn't care and she isn't going to check, because she's going to make the videos regardless. So, okay, I mean, fuck around and find out worked really well for Kuwait. Fuck around and find out in Syria.
No, he wouldn't be in Kuwait, hello darling. How do you know? Exactly, you don't. Like, Kuwait is not stable for expats. So,
It is when you're there properly. You can make the argument that nowhere is stable for an expat because you are reliant on permission to be there. You can also make the argument, which I don't think Foodie knows enough about to do, that the closing of certain industries to promote the employment of native people is also making it less stable or less easy for expats, which is a very common thing that's happening all over parts of the Middle East where a lot of expats come in. They want to create jobs for the people who are from there, and so they're saying, okay, well, foreigners can't be hired for these industries. But if you're in a job and you have a contract and you're there properly, it's a pretty stable place for you. Foodie doesn't know that because she's never gone through things properly.
whatever. He wouldn't want to be there without me anyways, so.
Well, he sounds thrilled to be here.
What danger am I in, Namin? I don't think you understand the situation either, because
You just said you heard gunshots. Did you, or did you not, just hear gunshots? Were they aimed at you this time? No. But we don't understand is a very confident statement for somebody who just heard gunshots.
I'm literally not even doing anything. I'm literally like...
Now, do I think someone's going to break into her home right now? No, I don't. But is everything a possibility? Yeah. She literally described Syria as pretty lawless. But no, there's got to be a good reason for this. Everyone who comes to a bad end in a war zone, there was a good reason for it. Like, do you hear yourself when you talk?
Why are you guys so fixated on that anyways? Like, why do you just wait around for something like any little slip up? It's
Because you keep breaking the law. And don't get me wrong, I think people go... That was very high, sorry. And don't get me wrong, I think people go way too far. But when we say you never learn, this would be a really great example of that. You left Kuwait because you didn't want to deal with the consequences of not knowing the law and breaking it. So of course, people are going to say stuff about you doing it here.
so weird. Like, I don't know. Are you miserable in life or something? I don't know. I mean, we have no electricity sometimes, and I'm still not as miserable as people who sit at home obsessing over, like, stupid little... wishing, like, the worst for someone.
I don't know about that, Foodie. But let's see. Let's ignore your entire history at the moment and see how happy you remain.
Anyway, that's your karma. I'm not... That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Just don't worry about it. It's my problem. Like, it's not yours.
When will you learn? Never is the answer. When will you learn that everything you show becomes the issue of the audience? Particularly with your audience.
I didn't get kicked out of Kuwait. I can go to Kuwait tomorrow if I want to.
She didn't get kicked out from Kuwait. She self-deported. She said, there's a good chance I might have an issue here. I'm going to get out before they can do anything.
They just want you to be homeless and banned in every country. Yeah, I know. It's sad. Miserable, sad, and miserable, yes. Causes a scam, and they're immature little brats. They don't know anything. Whatever. I wanted to leave Kuwait anyway. And Kuwait arc is over. There's nothing to talk about anymore. So, it's over.
I've got nothing I can defend myself with, so let's not talk about it.
That's what you planning on. Well, just looking out for you was a big mistake. Well, to me, it wasn't a mistake, nomming noodles, and you're not me. You don't live my life. You have an opinion, but that doesn't make it a fact, right? So, film everything in case I make a Netflix film. Now, if this is the way I go out, it's the way I go out. I'm not gonna lease a lot. Like, I know it stresses him out more because, like, he has to worry about me too now. It's not just himself.
Yeah.
And the man.
But you don't care enough to, like, not give him that burden.
And has, like, responsibilities to take care of his wife, right? In his culture. So he's worried about every little thing. Like, where's your fan? Where's your charger? Where's your, I try to make him relax, but it's hard for him.
Yeah, you make it hard for him. Because if things go wrong with you, he is the only one who can deal with it.
Oh, shoot.
There goes the power.
Just went off without warning. He's snoring. Okay, we're good. If he's snoring, we can talk as loud as we want. He will never hear it.
All right, well, that's great. So Salar's now asleep, so she's free.
I said, why don't we go to Malaysia? I didn't want to. So.
Ooh. So she suggested Malaysia. We had talked about Malaysia, and he said no. Interesting. Let's see if there's more. This is the part of the stream I didn't see.
It's nice to take care of your own. I know the risk. I might never be able to leave if things get bad. I know.
All right, so why did he say no to Malaysia? What things does he have to do in Syria? Like, yeah, you've got the family home, I guess, but he's lived without the family home for years. All right, the idea of him trying to go back to Kuwait is getting higher up in my list of possibilities because he wouldn't want to set himself up further away. Because if he starts a new life, he's fully committed to just losing the residency in Kuwait. All right, it dies down and he goes back. That's the current contender.
I wouldn't live in Syria if you paid me. And Lee, Nadine, I'm sure Syria doesn't care if you would live here or not.
I'm sure Syria doesn't care if you live there or not.
Just saying the world doesn't revolve around you, ma'am. This situation, putting themselves in this situation, you don't know the situation. You're not here. You don't know what it's like to live here, so you can't say. You think that Syria is the same as it was 10 years ago. It's not.
Tell us what Syria was like 10 years ago, Chantal. Tell us. As you sit there with your power going on and off, give us the benefit of your knowledge.
Why is every other country, including Syria, open for criticism, but if you do that to the US, you guys freak out? Do you not, like, see the hypocrisy there or what? And your life seems fun, Christina Pang, like, obsessing over every detail and being in my streams.
Right. Is the rest of this just her raging at chat, giving her, like, logical reasons to not be there?
In my apartment. You're probably just sitting there picking your nose.
Right.
Living life, though, to the fullest.
Let me just go
Who
through.
cares if there's power outage? We have lightning in Canada. Eileen, no one cares what you want. Do you think I need your approval to do anything?
The rooster again. Her favourite sound. All right, I'm gonna flick through the end of this. If it's just rage, we'll move on. I think those were all the points I wanted to talk about anyway.
Oh, I think I'm gonna go back to Canada one day. Wait, Eileen doesn't want me there. Oh no, whatever will I do? Kind of like tool to like analyze what actually cut the nail. Like, was it teeth or was it like some kind of like nail cutter? Small energy efficient fridge? Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
That's gonna make it fun for sure.
imagine you've been hot all day, you've been listening to a wine, you just fall asleep. The very quiet tenant turns, smashes something. Does he come back?
Hold on, forget that. Oh shit.
Glass everywhere. She's being very quiet. Stealthy even. Doing this in the dark.
Julia.
With the cat.
There's no broken glass on the floor.
So where's the broken glass?
Like, do you think I would just let my cat walk around like...
Yes! And how do you know there's no broken glass on the floor? The kids drop glasses in the canteen all the time. They smash over like a 3-mile area. You're picking bits of glass out of corners for a week. You find them like under tables the other side of the room. You think Chantal in the dark is going to find all the bits?
Plenty of water, yeah. Hi, baby. And there's no broken glass. I'm literally in my house.
We just heard something smash.
But okay. Hey, Witchy. I was just getting off. It should have been charged by now. Like, it's been like, we just installed it, but it's been a couple days, and the battery wasn't full yet. If it came to a point where, like, I would never have consistent electricity, I'd have to leave. Like, I wouldn't have a choice. Like, I need to see that, like...
Even with the solar battery, it doesn't seem like she's going to have constant electricity. But again, how long does the solar battery last? Because if she wants to sleep through the night with the CPAP, will the battery charging make it all the way through the night? I still don't think she'll stay there, but the rest of this just seems to be her insulting people.
Anyway, I guess we'll see. But yeah, I need consistent power, so if that doesn't happen, I will not be staying very long. I don't know what I'll do, but... Okay, I'm gonna go check out the panel and see what's going on. Okay, guys, I'll catch you on the flip side. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
All right, we'll leave that there. So yeah, Chantal seems miserable. The moment Salah wasn't there, like on the other side of the room checking she wasn't fucking up this life for her, she starts raging at the chat. And this is kind of where we are. 0 lessons learned, but we'll see, I suppose. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you there. It's another long one. Hopefully I can cut it down, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.